recording started. Let's just do a small chant. Namami Dhanvantarim Hadidevam Surasurairvandita Padapadmam Loke Jararugбhayamrityunasham Dhataramisham Vividhaushadhinam Om Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Okay. So we have less people today, but that's good. We're going to have more intimate session and we can answer as many questions as we get to. So today's topic is how to eat, when to eat, and what to eat. The most important thing, right? I don't know how many of you are on Instagram. Today's post, I was talking about rasa dhatu, because that's the first thing that is formed after we eat our food. And any imbalance in this rasa dhatu is the metabolic disorders that we experience, right? The new age problems that we are experiencing, like the either thyroid or anemia or cholesterol, hypercholesterolemia or diabetes. All of this is because of this metabolic conditions, which was not present several decades ago as prevalent. And when you look at what has changed in several decades, it's definitely the type of food that we've been eating and the combinations of food that we've been eating. Yesterday, my mom said that she went to a housewarming party, and there was this, like a dosa, live dosa that was there. And it seems that they were doing whatever you want, chocolate dosa, cheese dosa, fruit dosa, whatever you want, kind of a thing. And then she said, you know what, it was not even cooked very well, so I couldn't even eat it, right? But then it's a delicacy. My nephews were so excited. They're like, we're gonna eat cheese dosa, we're gonna eat this kind of dosa. So excitement is needed for people. That for us to even eat food, it has to be that exciting for us to eat, right? So that's why they come up with these kind of combinations. And when I see a lot of times when on YouTube or Instagram, I see these combinations and that rolls my eyes, I'm like, oh my God, if you eat this combination, it's going to be tasty, but what is it going to do to your gut on a long term, right? So that's why I thought it's very, very important for us to know how to eat, when to eat, and what to eat. Now, I will refer to 8th chapter of Ashtanga Hridayam. For any of you who want to know more of this, you would want to refer to Sutrasthanam, Ashtanga Hridayam, 8th chapter. There it is mentioned that, what is the kind of food that you have to eat? What kind of food is going to be beneficial and non-beneficial also? So the first sutra that he starts with is, he says, the quantity of food he talks about, because this adhyaya is main about matra, the quantity of food that you must eat. He says, matrashi sarvakalam syat, matra yagne pravartika. A lot of times we always look at calories. We are like, okay, do we eat 2000 calories or do we eat 1000 calories? What are the amount of calories that we have to eat? But he clearly mentioned here, agnehe pravartika. The food that you eat is according to your own capacity. Each one of us have different capacity. And depending on that capacity is when you have to eat the food. And he also said, matra dravyani apekshante guruni and laghu. So it depends upon all calories are not the same. Some calories are different and some calories. So if you're eating like a kg of sugar versus a kg of popcorn, let's say, I mean, I don't know the calories, all calories are not the same. The breaking down is very different. So it depends upon whether it is guru ahara, guru, which is heavy. I know I'm using terminology because I know you've been attending the classes. Heavy, or is it light? Now, what do you do if it is a heavy food? You have to eat only half your capacity. And what happens if it is a light food? Then also you cannot be filling your stomach. Na ati truptata, he says. You cannot be filling your stomach. If it is half, like let's say you're eating, it's a festival, Krishnashtami just happened. You go to a temple and they're feeding you, Lord Krishna likes butter, and you're eating sweets, lots of sweets he likes, and you're given sweet. It is Guru Ahara. We know that. And you have to eat normally. If you feel you are full to like a 3/4 capacity, you would have to stop when you reach your half capacity. That is important. And if it is a light food, you should not eat to your fullest capacity. Yeah. And he also mentioned, then it comes to today I've had two clients actually come. They were calorie restriction also. Now people go to the other way. People say, oh my God, I cannot eat Guru Ahara. Let me eat light food because lightness is what is important. I want to practice intermittent fasting. What happens? He mentioned, because he knows that this kind of questions are going to come up. He said, Bhojanam hina matram tu na bala upachaya aujasa. If you do not eat proper quantity, if you're consuming quantity, very less quantity, then your strength will deplete. You will not have nourishment to your tissues, and you will not have that radiance. You will not have the luster in your face. And this is the reason for vata aggravating all the hetus, all the symptoms that we're experiencing of aggravated vata is because of less food, less amount of food that we're eating. So very important to have that balance, not eating excessive, and at the same time also making sure that you're eating according to the capacity so that you're providing proper nourishment to your tissues. So ragi is laghu because it is more millet. And so, what's the definition of guru and laghu, right? So, when you eat the food, if the food is snigdha, which is unctuous, if the food is it is sweet in taste, madhura in taste, snigdha, madhura, and if it is also deep fried, then generally you would consider that as Guru Ahara. And Laghu Ahara is something that is in general light, and it has all the either bitter taste or pungent taste or astringent taste, or it will also be, once you eat it, within 2 hours you'll be hungry again. So it is not as sweet, comparatively. They have some sweetness to them. But when you're comparing it to rice or when you're comparing it to wheat, you have to, what we call taratamya, you have to compare it between different things. So the definition of it is, the sweeter the food is, the more guru it is. The colder the food is, more guru it is. Snigdha, Shita, Manda, if you're eating food and you're feeling like you're lethargic and you cannot move, then that is Guru Ahara. Right? These are all the qualities that you'll have to look at. That's the definition of the Guru Ahara. Now, if you take Atimatra, food that is taken in excess, then all three doshas are aggravated because there is no digestion and only ama is created. This ama, which is an undigested food, is traveling all over your body and it blocks the channels, and it's like your body is flowing with this contaminated food. I want you to have this visual. You ate a food, this is not broken down, and because it's not broken down, but it has to form your first tissue, because by the time this has to go to the first tissue, you would have eaten the second food. Your digestive fat is ready for the second, digesting your second food. So this has gone to your body already as a material, as a, as a finished product. Now imagine this plasma flowing all over your body with contaminated, undigested food. That's when you experience either nausea or loose stools or heaviness or stomachache or increase in temperature, fever. Any of these can happen because of that. And this is considered as food poisoning also, right? Any food that would not have been digested, this can be as food poisoning also. And he has mentioned that here, and we'll come to that. The first type of problem that you will experience if you eat this kind of food is called alasaka. What is alasaka? Alasaka is a condition where the food does not come from up or does not go down. It's all stuck. This stagnated feeling that you have in your stomach is called alasaka. The bloated feeling, a lot of us are like, oh, I can't even burp, I can't even pass gas, or there's no movement. It feels like the food goes in and the food just gets stuck. That is called alasaka. And this is a serious thing. A lot of times people even go to ER for this, thinking that there's a big problem. And when they look at your enzymes, mind you, they will see that there is inflammation in your pancreas and inflammation in your liver also. And this could be one of the, this could be appendicitis also, inflammation that is happening. Because of this contamination, inflammation of any of that vulnerable areas in that body is in that area is possible, no? So repeated condition of this alasaka can lead to either hepatitis or pancreatitis or appendicitis or any other inflammation. And if any of the Ayurvedic doctor goes and says, oh, this is ajirna, then that will be all, shooed away, because you'll have to be doing lots of tests. They'll be checking, this pancreatic enzyme is high. Oh my God, because this enzyme is high is why you're experiencing this. No, it's the opposite. It's the foods that you've been eating for a longer time which has caused the inflammation, and that is why your body is trying to fight. What is happening? Your body is fighting this contaminated food, and that's why this experience has happened. But when we say ajirna, then that looks like, oh, this is just such a primitive, kind of diagnosis. But really, ajirna can be that severe. And that's why that's why Ayurveda is very, very simple. It does not have to be complicated. It has to be that simple. Yeah, so that is alasaka. Now, the next kind of variety, I'm going to just put it here for those of you who cannot, alasa. Just want you to be aware of the terminology also. Then the next variety that can happen because of this indigestion, because of this food poisoning. And again, this is not food poisoning because your food is not digested. It's called visuchika. Here what happens, you will get many different types of pains. It's as if suchi iva, which means as if there is, pins and needles all over your body. That is seen because of indigestion again. And there is also a possibility that there is delusion abdominal pain, tremors, fever, diarrhea, vomiting. All of this can happen depending upon what dosha this contaminated food is aggravating. Then what do we do? If diarrhea is happening, we give anti-diarrheals. Loperamide is given. When nausea or vomiting is happening, excessive vomiting is happening, things are going out, then Zofran is given to stop that because we're worried about dehydration. Then what are you doing? You're just keeping that contaminated food inside instead of it going out of the body. Then the next thing you see is you see that pain's increasing. You see that this contaminated food, because it cannot stay inside your koshta anymore, it moves laterally and you probably experience eczema, you probably experience hives. And you notice that a lot of times when you eat food that you cannot handle, like a shrimp or, especially seafoods, you notice hives is one of the reaction that happens. And how does this reaction happen? How is, and we say that we're allergic to shrimp or we're allergic to this. So this is your body telling you that your body is not able to, your digestive fire is not able to digest this particular thing. And when it is not digesting, it is contaminated and it's flowing all over your body and it's creating this reaction. When that is happening, your body is giving you a message. So this message should let us know that one thing you can do is, of course, you can avoid the food, but then you also have to know that you have to strengthen your soldiers. Because what are your soldiers? Your digestifier is your soldier. You have to strengthen your soldiers. So that strengthening of the soldiers is where how you eat food, what you eat, and when to eat. That is the strengthening that happens when you're able to break that pattern of yours. Yeah. Then the Amavisha, undigested food poisoning, where if you're eating incompatible foods regularly. So we spoke about alasaka and visuchika is mainly if you've eaten heavy foods and mainly if food did not digest well. Now the next thing is called Amavisha that is formed in the body. This is if you're used to eating incompatible food combination for a long period of time without knowing, or eating food in spite of indigestion. A lot of times what happens is, oh, I have acidity and my acidity triggers if I don't eat food. So I've known a lot of people who actually eat food so that their acidity does not trigger. Your acidity is one of the symptoms of your indigestion. And if that is happening, then we have to address it. We cannot just, so what's happening is the fire is coming up and you're pouring sort of food from up. And of course, it'll douse down for some time. You pour water, you pour solids. It will douse down for some time. But this is causing indigestion. This is causing more indigestion in a long run. So when that happens, you experience that ama visha. And you have to, you will face problems like, again, there's going to be severe pain. This is where ama visha means this is where the pancreatitis and appendicitis and all of this can happen, and immediate care needs to happen. So what happens is suddenly you'll, even though you're doing this for long periods of time, again, I always talk about the bottle phenomenon because each bottle has a capacity. Each body has a capacity. And if you've reached that capacity, that's when suddenly you feel like you're experiencing an emergency where the symptoms are overflowing and you'll be experiencing that emergency. And that is Ama Visha. And that's why, what are the incompatible food combinations that we have spoken about? I know these are some things that we have spoken about in the past. So anything that you all remember, I'd like for you all to
Milk and banana.
very good. Milk and banana is a heavy combination. I wouldn't call it a
Oh, fruit and milk. Fruits and milk.
yeah, especially fruits and milk. Yeah, mainly citrusy fruits and milk because vinegar or any citrus, sour things and milk is going to be curdling milk, and that is a incompatible food combination, correct? And what else?
I want to say like eggs and cheese, eggs and beans, right?
Eggs and cheese, eggs and beans are heavier food combination, but they are not incompatible food combination. Cheese in general is actually an incompatible, it's formed with an incompatible food combination in itself, because cheese is formed by curdling of milk, and it in itself is incompatible food combination. But generally, eggs and cheese is it comes as a guru combination. What else?
Cold food?
Cold food again is not an incompatible food combination. It is heavy. It is difficult to digest. So it is not in, so there is a difference between incompatible food combination and heavy foods and difficult foods. We'll talk about that. Now that we're talking about all of this, we'll talk about what happens. In an incompatible food combination, a third product is formed which is foreign to our body, and our body will not be able to recognize it, break it down, and assimilate it. And that, if you do on a daily basis, is going to be difficult for us to digest. Now, with cold foods and heavy foods, the constitution of the product is not changing. It's the same constitution. It is difficult for you to break it down. It's like you're a computer engineer and you're given a lot of work. You go on a vacation for 2 weeks, you come back, and you're given a lot of work and you're asked to finish that in a day. That is guru. That is difficult for you to digest. That is difficult for you to do it. But if you're given a scalpel and if you're given an apron and say that, okay, today you're going to do a brain surgery, you're a computer engineer. Not possible. You're not going to do that. That is incompatible. That is what your body does not even understand. You have to study it. By the time you study it, this is already going into your body. That's the difference between
Salt
incompatible.
and milk?
Very good. Salt and milk is an incompatible food combination. Fish and milk also. And
Cereal?
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Cereal?
Yeah, because cereal has salt in it, and milk and salt is an incompatible food combination. Yeah, cooking eggs with cottage cheese is not a good idea, Jyoti, just because I was mentioning that it is heavy, and cheese in general is formed as an incompatible cheese. How is cheese formed? It's from curdling the milk, right? And that is in general an incompatible food combination. Fish and milk is an incompatible food combination. And yogurt added to meat, our favorite combination when people do this, what is it, marination. They add yogurt to meats and that's cooked. So that is an incompatible food combination mentioned in Ayurveda. And cooking with yogurt itself is an incompatible food combination. Now, this kadhi and all, you make a buttermilk out of it. So first thing, you make the yogurt, add 4 to 6 times of water to it, make it into a buttermilk, and then add it. The processing changes. Then you make it into a curry, but don't add yogurt directly. Yeah. So these are generally fish and milk, adding yogurt to the meats, adding any sour or salty things to your milk, eating cold and hot foods together. What's the favorite? Here, this Pazuki, it seems, is it's like a hot chocolate with ice cream added to it. Is or yeah, chocolate, molten chocolate or a lava chocolate, which is very hot, and then ice cream added to it. It seems so they're giving it for 30 days free somewhere, BJ's here. And so all the youth are eating Pazuki. I know because I have two teenagers in the house, and they eat that. And Pazuki is a incompatible food combination because of hot molten chocolate with cold ice cream. That is an incompatible food combination. Smoothies, the fruits, all the fruits and the milk and all of that, that's an incompatible food combination, right? So these all, if you're eating that on a daily basis, then you're going to be experiencing this Amavisha. And then later on, you'll be experiencing all of this, thinking that, oh, suddenly I'm experiencing, this problems, this inflammation. No, it's not sudden. If you go back and look at things, there will be an answer to it. There will be a reason for why you're experiencing. Yeah.
Anju, can I ask a question?
Yes, of course.
These food incompatible groups,
Yeah.
is that something based on the ethnicity of people? How come some folks this is their normal diet
Yeah.
and
Very good question. So, again, depending upon where you live, Prasanna, if you're living in a cold country, your sweat pores are blocked, sweat pores are not as much open, and your internal digestive fire does not escape the sweat pores. So, there is a lot of digestion, there's a lot of digestive fire inside. And even though you eat incompatible food combinations like smoothies or excessive meats or excessive cheese, you're able to digest it. The same reason why even in India, North Indians are able to eat heavier foods compared to South Indians. South Indians have to ferment their food for them to even digest it. And North Indians, they're able to eat paneer, naan. So naan is, heavy. Paneer is heavy. They're able to eat it because it's colder climate there. So that's the difference. That's why the difference between how the digestion happens. Yeah, absolutely. And that's why it's important that we follow what our ancestors have eaten. And when making buttermilk, the Banti's question, when making buttermilk, if the fat layer does not separate, is it still okay to consume it? Okay. So there are different varieties of buttermilk, the Banti, 3 different varieties. One variety is where the fat layer is present. Second variety is fat layer is somewhat taken out. The third variety is fat layer is completely taken out. It all depends upon your digestive capacity and your dosha. If you're a vata dosha or a pitta dosha and you have proper digestive fire, then buttermilk with some amount of butter in it. When you're saying fat, I'm sure you're talking about butter that is not separated fully. Then if you still have some butter in it, then it's okay to consume it because that is going to be reducing your vata and reducing your pitta, and you have digestive fire to digest it still. And if you have kapha, and if you are obese and kapha and you don't have proper digestive fire, then you want to you want to drink the buttermilk where the butter is completely taken out. So it all depends on what is your dosha and what is your digestive capacity. Yeah. So now that we know there are different types of ama that happens in the body. There is alasaka, visuchika, amavisha. These kind can happen because of the foods that we eat. The type of langhanas, there are 3 types of langhanas that you can always experiment. Langhana is called intermittent fasting. Okay. So first one is if you have less doshas. If you're like, okay, once in a while, you just went out. It was Krishnashtami, you went out and you just ate one extra sweet. Then you know it's a light amount of ama that is present in the body. Then you just fast for that day, or you just drink ginger tea, or you just don't eat next, you miss the next meal. That is good enough. Now, if you have moderate amount of doshas, you went for a vacation, 2 weeks vacation on a cruise where they allow for you to eat all you can eat buffet in the cruise. And then that is, you have good amount of doshas that you have developed. Then you have to not only fast, you have to also include some amount of pachana dravyas in there. The pachana dravyas are, we speak about dry ginger powder. You can include dry ginger powder. You can include ajwain. You're going to be including hing, the asafoetida in your diet. So these are all some things that you want to incorporate on a daily basis for at least 4 to 5 days until you know that the hunger is all back to normal. You're going to be observing how your hunger is. You're going to be observing what are the symptoms that you're experiencing after you eat your food. Am I feeling sleepy? How is my exercise? All of these things you have to take into consideration. So along with not only intermittent fasting, you're going to be increasing your exercise. You're going to be adding all of these pachana dravyas in your diet. This is something that you can do by yourself. You don't even need an Ayurvedic doctor for that. Now, if this is forever, you did this for many years, because drinking protein is amazing for building your muscles. Smoothie in the morning is the best because you're getting all the calories at once, and then followed by Greek yogurt with fruits for lunch, and then you're following up with salads in the night. By the way, I know, Debanti, you're smiling, but this is what I see in the clinic every day in the name of correct food. Unfortunately.
I'm just thinking, how many of these have I done myself? That's one small.
No, but this is something that I see in the clinic almost every day because people think that this is the way to live. And unfortunately, they're trying to be healthy, and that's how people are consuming. Then there is a lot of amavisha in the body, and if you're experiencing symptoms, any of these, there could be hernia, there could be inflammation, there could be any of these experiencing symptoms, then you have to and you must consult an Ayurvedic doctor and go through either Panchakarma or Shamana. All of this is necessary to make sure that things are taken out of the vulnerable spot and put in your koshta and then sent out of the body. Okay, and that is more of it is like a surgery only. That's how it takes some time. It takes like bringing them back to balance. It's like a surgery only. Yeah. So that is the did we talk about foods that should be consumed every day and foods that should not be consumed every day? We did not. Okay. So there are 20 foods that are mentioned in Ayurveda that must be consumed on a daily basis. The first thing is rice. Yeah, that is something that everybody shuns away, no? Now, they mentioned rice because, many centuries, rice and wheat has been there. Now, I was reading a book which was, 12th or 13th century, and they were talking about, oh, I was eating rice. It's like, oh, yeah, rice is there then too. Right? It has been through many famines and many wars and many things. So that is something that I would want to eat, no? And that is mentioned here. Rice is the first thing. And then godhuma, wheat. Barley. Barley is a small barley, pearl barley is something that you would use. And the rice that you would want to eat is a rice maturing in 60 days. I know now it's not possible for us to know whether it matured in 60 days or not. Now, growing up, because I grew up in a farm and my father was a farmer, I knew that the variety of the rice that would come out that he was farming was definitely a 60 days one. But now I don't know, I have to buy it externally. So generally, I would prefer that a Sona Masuri rice or Amba More rice, hand pound rice. These are the things that I generally recommend that you consume. Yeah. And the other thing that was mentioned is Jangala Mamsa, meat of the animals that are present in the desert areas. Again, this is mentioned for meat eating families only. If you're not coming from a meat eating family, then don't worry. This is not for you at all. And if you come from a meat eating family, do not stop eating meat. So that is both are equivalently important. Yeah. And then young radish, which is the white radish, is very important. Tender radish. Then haritaki, that's not something that we use on a daily basis. Haritaki and amalaki is something that they have mentioned. Raisins, black raisins is something that you would want to use. And parval the parval that is present in the Indian stores, just like the Tindora only. This one's harder. That one and the snake gourd. These are also must be included on a daily basis. Mudga, green gram, both the one with the chilka and without the chilka. Green gram and sugar, believe it or not. Again, this is not the sugar that we are eating now. It's a rock sugar. It's the mishri. That's what's mentioned. And ghee, cultured ghee, milk, honey, pomegranate, rock salt, and then pure rainwater. In those days, they used to have homes called Manduva homes, where the rainwater was collected in a container, and that rainwater was used to drink. But now, with all the pollution, that's not something that's possible. Parval in Telugu, Prasanna, let me see what is the English name. I don't know what the Telugu name is, but I'll tell you what the English name is before the class.
Is it snake god?
Snake gourd is there. One is snake gourd, and there is one other variety. I'm gonna put. Let me see if I can put this.
It's a kind of a
Point.
gourd, Manju. It's like a pointed gourd.
Yeah, it is a gourd only. I'm gonna just put it right here. You see it in the Indian stores. We find it here.
I've seen them like frozen. Are they even available fresh?
They are available fresh. Coconut
Oh,
Hill in Fremont has that,
okay.
but it is very hard to cut it. I have a cutter. I put it in a cutter, and that's how I cut it. I make it just like Tindora. Yeah. Rock sugar, jigisha is mishri. It's that khadi shakar. You have to pound it and then use it. It is mishri. That's something that you must use on a daily basis. Now, he has also told us foods that you should not use.
Wait,
The main
what were the last two though? We got
pomegranate. Okay, so there are few things that we don't use at all, and that's why cucumber is something that you can use on a daily basis. Cucumber is something that I missed. There is Jeevanti and Sunishannaka, which is not available now. So that's why I missed them. I did not tell you them. Yeah.
Manju, is the rock sugar like jaggery? No?
No. Rock sugar is not jaggery. Rock sugar is mishri only. I'll probably Google mishri and I'll put that here. Again, Coconut Hill does have mishri. It's a crystallized form of mishri. Image mishri. Amazon has it too. Right here. Then foods that should not be used at all. Now, white radish must be used, but not red, the small red one, and especially uncooked should not be used. And meat of animals that are emaciated, dry. I'm thinking, that beef jerky that you get is probably one of those that you should not eat. I remember when I first came to the United States, and it was always put at the counters, and I really thought it was a candy. And I bought it, and I'm like, I bit into it really. And I'm like, oh my God, what is this crazy thing? So it reminds me of that. But I'm thinking that they're talking about beef jerky, meat of emaciated animals, and dry meat. They've mentioned dry meat should not be eaten. Meat of sheep, cow, and it will probably break some of your hearts. Fish and buffalo also. I know fish is mentioned as something that you must eat, especially for omega-3s and everything. But a fish is mentioned in the do not eat list in Ayurveda. Also, again, when we say do not eat it on daily basis, because this was available at that time. And eating on a daily basis and not eating on a daily basis, again, once in a while you can have it for fun, but don't eat it on a daily basis. That's the difference that you have to look at. And white flour is mentioned. And virudha, germinated, the sprouts is mentioned. Dried vegetables also is mentioned, not to eat. And molasses, half cooked, the molasses that you get, that also he said not to eat. And this also is going to be a problem for a lot of us. Urad dal. Don't eat it on a daily basis. Again, you can have it for fun. You can eat it. He at the same breath, he also said when you go to urad dal, he said this is the best dal out of all that gives you strength. He'll say that. But he has also listed in not to eat on a daily basis because he knows that it is heavy and because he knows that a lot of us do not have a lot of digestive fire. You can have it, but you have to have a discretion. You have to ferment it and you have to eat it that way only. So that is a discretion that you can have, but you cannot eat it on a daily basis. Just mentioned it here. Yeah, and yeah, mainly those are the things that we and solid part of yogurt. Like the hard part of yogurt is mentioned not to eat. And also kilata is yogurt that is not fully formed, like a half formed yogurt is there, that also is saying not to eat. So these are the foods that you should not eat on a daily basis. Yeah. And what does he also mentioned here, allotted space in your stomach for different foods. 2 parts must be filled for solid food. If you're dividing your stomach into 4 parts, let's say, 2 parts for solid food, 1 part for liquid, and 1 part must be left vacant. Just like how you're cooking in a big pot, and in a big pot, you cannot fill the entire pot. If you fill the entire pot, then you will not be able to cook it. The same thing is happening in our tummy. So that is what we have to remember when we are eating up to brim. If we are eating fully, we have to remember that there is no space for the food to move, break down, and digest. So that is why it is important for us to have some gap and eat only 3/4 your capacity. Yeah. So that is that. And when to eat, right? We spoke about what to eat. We're going to talk about when to eat. Our biggest meal of the day, definitely at lunch. And he has also mentioned to, get all the things necessary and eat. Has mentioned clearly that you should not be talking while you eat, which is very difficult. Again, what he means is do not make a heated argument or do not make discussion and like an intellectual discussion. You can have like a, what did you do for, what was at work today? What happened? You can have like that healthy conversation. But because tan mana bhunjita, you're digesting your thoughts along with your food. So that is why he said, do not speak while you're eating your food. And you have to drink your water while you're eating your food. This is another very big misconception a lot of people have. A lot of people don't even drink water. If you're eating with soup or with buttermilk, then you don't have to drink water. But some amount of liquid is necessary so that the bolus is being formed along with the food. Yeah. So you eat small meal for your breakfast, like a very small porridge. Heavy lunch. Heavy lunch is again anything heavy is 3/4. 3/4 is heavy. And then you're eating a very small dinner again. This is ideal for all of us to be able to maintain. Then you're not going to be accumulating. Then you're going to be clearing your debts easily. You're not going to be accumulating excessive ama. And you're not going to be accumulating any of this unnecessary liquid all over your body. Yeah. Green leafy vegetables are given, what is it? It seems gourds are given much. Yeah, actually, green leafy vegetables are looked down upon in Ayurveda. Because it has, so when you leave it outside, it gets spoiled very quickly. And if you roast it, you see it leaves lots of water. So, which means that if you eat it, especially if you eat it raw, then you're adding that much water to your body and it can be a harboring ground for parasites. So, leafy vegetables is given very much that you have to roast them very well. You actually have to cook them and roast them with proper amount of ghee and then consume it. Yeah. Yeah, 1 part liquid can be sambar, etc. That's fine, Prasanna. Homemade yogurt. We specifically, as mentioned, buttermilk is the best jigisha. Start using only liquid. You're not going to, no. You don't have to use only just liquid. That yogurt, you can churn it and you can add 4 times water, churn it really well, and you can consume it as a buttermilk. That's how you're going to consume it. Yeah. So then we spoke about when to eat. Now, how to eat. We touched upon a little bit of how to eat. You have to make sure that you have properly eliminated your bowels are cleared, urine is cleared, your mind is pleasant, your burps are pure. There's no burp of your previous meal. And you feel that proper hunger is there. And you feel that body is light. And you feel that your senses are strong. When that is present, that is the time that you are allowed to eat your food. So these are all the things. Always remember to check the taste of your burp. If the taste of your burp is tasting like whatever you've eaten in the past, then you know that there is still, previous food. You want to make sure that you wait for some more time, or you're drinking some herbal teas to make sure that you're digesting well, then eat your next meal. And you have to sit down. You're not eating your food standing up. Sit down. I know buffet style was not there in the past. You always have to sit down. Even drinking water, you have to sit down and drink your water. Because that is how your grahani, which is your vessel, is going to be holding your food properly so that it digests well. So you sit down and you're sitting, you can sit with your loved ones. That way your mind is all clear. And he also said, get all of the utensils that is necessary for you to eat. You're eating with a spoon or a fork, you get all of that. You get your glass of water, you get, like the serving thing, serving spoons, everything. You make sure that everything is there. This is also something that is mentioned. And then sit down and chew your food. And do not be watching anything while you're eating your food. Tan mana bhunjita. Because the thoughts of what you're watching or hearing is digesting with the food that you're eating. He has made it very, very clear. Now, if you know that your body is being formed because of these thoughts, Your body is formed because of the food that you're eating. We don't want to mess with it, no? Because this is our instrument that is allowing us to do what we have to do in this lifetime. And we want to take very good care of it. Again, I'm not saying that we should be obsessed and we should not go to lunch meetings. You're a salesperson and you cannot, do your business over lunch. Manju said this, that you cannot have meeting. No, that's not what I'm saying. But be very careful in how you're eating your food. A lot of times, desk lunches and car breakfasts have become very, very common. That is not going to be nourishing your soul and nourishing your tissues as much. We are eating because we want to nourish our tissues so that they act for us. If we take care of our employees, they are going to be taking care of, and that's why all these big companies, they feed, no? Because they want to take care of their employees very, very well. That's exactly what this is, our team. Our digestifier is our team. Our tissues are our team. We have to take care of them very well so that they do what we want to do in this lifetime. And that is how to eat, what to eat, and when to eat. Any questions I can answer? We have another 6 to 7 minutes.
Okay, so I'm going to follow up on the green leafy vegetables
Sure.
then again, right? So, are there, in the West, it's like kale is everything, or it was a few years ago anyway, it was kind of are there sort of recommended vegetables that are green leafy vegetables that are easier to digest?
Spinach has been mentioned.
Okay.
Spinach has been mentioned, and they said that you have to cook spinach in water, like how you cook, you have to cook it in water and then remove all the water and then fry it with good amount of ghee, and you also have to add good amount of spices to it to digest it. That's how it's told to cook also. The cooking method is also given there. So spinach is mentioned. And even sorrel is mentioned, which is gongura. I don't know if you know gongura, but that is also mentioned, that it has good amount of iron and you can include that in your diet also. And even there's one more leaf which is not easily available, but that is also mentioned, which actually reduces diarrhea. If there's excessive diarrhea, you can use it. It's called, in Telugu, I know it's chukkakura, but that's also mentioned. Kale, I don't think there is a reference for it. I have not found a reference for that in Ayurveda. Yeah. Is quinoa good food to eat? Quinoa is a good food to eat for people who are from South America, because that is where it is grown, and they have traditionally eaten it with good amount of lard. They have good amount of lard and fat that they eat because it's a very cold place. And that's where quinoa is grown, and you cook it very well and you mix it with good amount of lard and fat to break that protein down, because it has good amount of protein. But for you to break that good amount of protein, you need this much amount of lard, but we don't eat that, no? So it does not digest, or that amount of protein is not assimilated to us very well. Then it just goes out of the body and it does not nourish. And because it doesn't nourish, you will definitely lose weight. And then people are eating it for losing weight purpose, right? So, in my opinion, it is not as good for people from the Indian descent, because that is not a food that your body is used to.
Okay, what is lard? The
Lard is, like animal fat.
oh, okay.
Animal fat. And we don't add that much of animal fat. And that's why even for lentils, it is mentioned that you have to cook it with good amount of ghee so that you can break the protein down. Quinoa has a lot of protein in it and it has to be broken down properly.
Okay, thank you.
Manju, you said earlier in the presentation something very interesting, that acidity is not an issue by itself, but it is a result of poor digestion.
It is an issue. I did not say it's
Yes,
an issue.
yes,
It is
yes.
an
But
issue.
it's a result and not a cause.
It is a result and not a cause. Correct.
How can you, I mean, I'm trying to, that was actually a little profound for me. So that is a result of something. So that means something is not being, what we're eating is not right, and it's not being digested well, and that's how this ends up happening?
Absolutely. So this is a result of many, many years of what was happening in the body. And now suddenly this manifestation has happened, and we're thinking it just happened right now.
Yeah.
But it did not happen right now. It is a result. When you look, when you trace back, you would see that there was some undigested food that, I mean, all of these that would have eaten. There could be traces of either incompatible food combinations or heavy foods, or if none of this is there, maybe the how you're eating the food
Oh.
can also result in hyperacidity. Now, we have to trace back and look at what the reason is. If mind is the reason, then we have to fix the mind. If the food was the reason, then we have to fix the food. Then hyperacidity will get corrected. We cannot suppress it with cold milk. We cannot suppress it with water. We cannot suppress it with food, because if we do that, then we're creating even more indigestion. Or if we do PPIs, or if we do any of these suppression with those, then it is suppressed and you will see it on the skin. It will then manifest later. I've seen it manifested as eczema. And the dermatologist will never know that this is because of indigestion.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. I hope this was beneficial for you all.
Manju, can I ask a question about
Absolutely.
a dinacharya? If it's
Of
a little
course.
off topic, if
Of
that's
course.
okay.
That's fine. That's fine.
Is it okay? I mean, I get why people do Abhyanga before showering, obviously, but like, is it okay to just like do it afterwards and just leave it on for a little bit?
No.
Okay.
I will say no, because you are blocking the pores afterwards. The pores are all open after you shower. And then when you apply oil, then you're going to be blocking the pores. And there's some water that's remaining there. And if you add oil and water, there is a chance that fungal infection or any infection can harbor on that area. Because even though you wipe off, there's still a layer of moisture that is present. So that is the reason. These are the two reasons why I would say that I would not want to apply oil after shower. Yeah, sorry. I say yes or no answers. I can but sometimes I do say yes or no answers. Most of the times I say it depends, but this one is definitely a hard no.
So follow up on that question.
Yes.
People do every day, Abhyanga? I mean, the normal practitioner, Ayurvedic practitioner, or the regular people, is it everyday thing?
I will confess that I don't. I like to do it every day. I like to do it every day. I do it at least once in 2 weeks. That's the maximum I can do. I mean, I sometimes when I get into the groove of it, I'm like, I'm doing it, especially in winters. I'm like, I'll do it every day. But on an average, I'll probably get to do once in 2 weeks. But there are people, I'll tell you, there are a lot of my clients, I'm so proud of them. They do it on a daily basis. I just told you about myself. Yeah.
In a future class, can you talk about the ear stuff? Like, it seems like Ayurveda loves oil, right? It just loves oil everywhere. So there's
All
ears.
all pores. The Ayurveda is all about pouring oil into all the pores. Into your nostrils, into
Yeah.
your ears, into your eyes, hair, everywhere. Rectum, everywhere. So, yeah, enemas. So, yeah, we'll talk about that definitely. Karnapurna. Amazing. All right. Thank you all for attending today. I'll see you
Thank you
all
so much, Dr. Manju.
Absolutely, Bhamini. And Debanti has suggested some topics, so we're going to probably talk about those topics next time.
Sure. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.